Hello everybody, Tahoe Yak Fisher here. We're going to do a little DIY project on my Tarpon 120. I want to install an anchor trolley kit, and in order to do so I need some pad eyes. Now the pad eye up here at the front of the boat was a piece of cake because of this nice large hatch. I was able to get inside the hull, use screws and washers and bolts. But in the back of the kayak, there's no access. This is the best access that we have. So I'm going to use something called a T-nut, and we are going to install it back here. I've already marked and drilled the holes using a pad eye. And the T-nut that I'm talking about looks like this right here. Basically, we have a threaded insert with these little teeth that are going to bite into the hull of the plastic from the inside. So the trick is we have to get this inside the kayak somewhere where we don't have access. Now to do that, I am going to use an embroidery needle attached to 4-pound fishing line. And as you can imagine, I'm going to drop that into the hole that I have made in the hull. And then I'm going to use this screw that actually is a tool. If you can see here, I've cut a slot into it so that I can use a screwdriver with it. I used a Dremel tool to do that. So I'm going to show you how I attach this tool to the T-nut right here and how we're going to fish that into the hull. So hang on one second. Okay guys, so here's the idea. We are going to take this embroidery needle that has 4-pound fishing line attached to it. We are going to put it into the kayak right here where I have drilled the hole. And then we're going to tip the kayak down so that the needle goes that way and so that I can retrieve the 4-pound fishing line. Once I have the 4-pound fishing line with the needle up through this hatch, I am going to tie this tool that I have made that now is fished through the bottom of the T-nut. There you go, my phone's doing this on my phone. It's focusing when it wants to. So we're going to fish this into the kayak using the fishing line, pull it out the hole, and then we're going to use this spacer, this washer, and this bolt to tighten this down so that it goes into the hull of the kayak. Then we're going to break the bolt itself, the screw itself, loose of the T-nut using the screwdriver here. So I'm going to work on fishing the needle down to the hatch, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay guys, so the next step is complete. I've got the 4-pound fishing line coming through the hatch here, coming from the hole that I want the pad eye to reside. So now I have to figure out how to tie this to that fishing line, pull it inside the hole and out this hole where I can theoretically tighten it down. Those teeth are going to bite into this plastic from the inside, and I'm going to be left with a threaded hole to screw my pad eye into. Now, the way I ended up getting the fishing line through here, I did use the needle that I showed you guys, and I used a strong magnet, a toolbar magnet. And I held the magnet on the outside, caught the needle, and was able to move it all the way up here to the hatch. So I haven't done it that way before. The magnet worked really well, so hopefully it works as well on the second one. All right, I'm gonna fish it through. I'm gonna figure out how to tie it to the bolt, the screw, and the T-nut to the 4-pound fishing line and see if we can fish it to the hole there. So hang on. All right, guys. So it worked. I was able to really. All I did was tie a regular overhand knot loop in the thread and kind of wrapped it around the bolt, the screw, was able to fish the screw in here. I've got my spacer, my washer, and the bolt. So first I'm going to put a screwdriver back here and just kind of pry it this way to get those teeth started. And then I'm going to put a wrench on the bolt and the screwdriver in the slot that I put in there at the exact same time so that the screw can't turn while I'm tightening the bolt. Alright, so I'm going to work on that and show you how I do. Okay guys, so that worked great. You can see the shank of the T-nut just sticking out of the plastic. Now we're going to put our screwdriver in here and we should be able to just loosen that from the T-nut. Yeah. So that's going to come right out of the T-nut and we've got our first T-nut installed. So I'm going to get rid of that, fish the fishing line back in there and get working on the second one. Alright. Go. Okay, we have fished our 4-pound fishing line through the hull, from the hole that I drilled for the pad eye. We now need to attach the tool and T-nut to the 4-pound fishing line. I've tied a basic overhand loop here. I'm going to make a loop like that, and I'm going to use that to tie it to the end of the bolt, like so. This takes a minute to get it just right. So we've got it like that, but we want it to be right at the end of the threads so that it will pull the bolt vertically into that hole that we have drilled. So once you've got it where you want it, just like that, we're just going to kind of tighten it back and forth. And the 4-pound fishing line is soft enough that it's going to bite into those threads and it's going to stay put like so that we can fish it through the hull and into the hole that we have drilled. Alright everybody, I've got the second piece of hardware fished in there. This is how our spacer and washer is going to go on the screw that has the T-nut on the inside. I'm going to show you how we're going to use our tools here. So we want to tighten it down. So we're going to put this on the bolt. We're going to put this in the screw slot that we have made, and we are going to tighten it down until it hits its bottom, which is right there. I've already tightened it down, and then we are going to take it all apart like so. We're going to just loosen that. Once we've got that loose, we can back all of this off, and what we are left with is our tool still in place and the T-nut also installed, which we can see from the shank sticking through. Now we're going to release our tool like so. We're going to screw that all the way back into the hull, remove it from the hull, and we will be left with our 2 threaded inserts. Okay. Okay guys, we have our T-nuts installed. Now they're beyond flush a little bit, which means I could take my grinder to them, but today's video is getting a little bit long, so instead I'm going to use a washer that I have, a stainless steel washer here that actually fits around the T-nut and will let the pad eye be flush. So we're going to install the pad eye. I'll show you the finished product. Alright guys, video's getting kind of long, but there you have it. We now have our T-nut backed pad eye in the field where we have no access to the hull. Alright, thanks very much for watching. Tight lines, Yak Fisher out.